Joining me now, host of the Andrea Kaye radio show, Andrea Kaye, and Democratic strategist Kevin Walling. Andrea, Kevin, happy Monday.
Good to be here.
Great to be with you, Liz.
All right, guys, this is not the lightest story to begin a Monday. It's a tragic story, actually. 7 more people killed across the sea. Our greatest ally, our strongest ally in Britain. 7 people killed, 48 people injured. Andrea, let me turn to you first. I mean, this is mind-boggling to me. How many attacks do we have to suffer, do our allies have to suffer before we stop bowing to political correctness, identify radical Islam as the motivation behind these attacks, and eliminate it once and for all?
Well, it's a good question, because if you count up, and I haven't been keeping count, but there's been at least 20 major terrorist attacks just since January of 2015 alone. Isn't that enough? Actually, wasn't one enough? Wasn't actually September 11th back here when we lost thousands of people on American soil? Wasn't that enough at that point? I mean, that's really an excellent question we should be asking. You know, after 22 girls were slaughtered by known terrorists in Manchester, what did the British authorities turn around and do after, of course, declaring war on Islamophobia, not Islamic Jihad itself? They initially raised the threat terror to critical, and then they lowered it again. You know, we've got a London mayor. You know, I like the fact that somebody who's a Muslim coming out and trying to condemn this form of Islamic Jihad, but that's not really enough, because at the same token, they're refusing to do what they need to do to stop this from happening. One of these terrorists was, I guess, in a documentary known to people called The Jihadist Next Door. This is the same mayor, Liz, who recently said in September of 2016 that these terrorist attacks are part and parcel of living life in the big city. That is a mindset that must be eradicated, as well as Islamic Jihad.
Right, it's dangerous. And Kevin, I mean, there have been, to use an exact number here, there have been 451 people killed since the beginning of Ramadan, the Islamic holy month. As you know, ISIS, the Islamic State, called for a ramping up of terror attacks around the world during their holy month, what they believe will, get them even greater reward. I mean, at the same time that we see this, 451 people killed, we hear this call to action, this call to terror from ISIS. We hear liberal politicians blaming this on Islamophobia. I mean, coming from your party, when is enough enough? When are you going to stop with the political correctness?
I don't think you're seeing liberal politicians. In the video that you played was Theresa May, the Conservative PM, and the Labour mayor of London jointly condemning these attacks. I think those words are so powerful. From Mayor Khan in London condemning those attacks. This isn't a matter of political correctness. We are disgusted as liberals with these attacks. 34 members of the British population have been killed in 3 separate attacks in just the last 75 days. Being liberal doesn't mean being soft on these kind of heinous actions. Being liberal means let's be smarter about these actions. Let's not condemn an entire religion when you have these focus groups
that's exactly what your party is doing, though.
And that's what we need to focus on.
That's exactly what your party is doing. I'm never suggesting that you're being soft, but no, Republicans are the last party that's trying to say this problem is with all of Islam. In fact, the reason that I played that video of Mayor Khan at the beginning is because I think that what he said there was good. He actually made a differentiation, which is what a lot. Me too. That's why I shared it. But that's not what a lot of liberals are doing. What they're doing is, I want to quote a tweet here from him. He said, "President Trump's ignorant view of Islam could make both of our countries less safe." What he's doing, this is a typical liberal, politically correct narrative. What he is doing is suggesting that alienation or marginalization or bullying or lack of understanding of Islam causes peaceful Muslims to become violent. Kevin, that is a very dangerous mindset, and that is coming from the left.
What that mindset says is that we should not condemn members of the vast majority of whom are peaceful members of society across the globe that are peaceful Muslims. When we attack them as an entire religion, as this president has done throughout his tweets, throughout his statements, on this so-called Muslim ban, that is a very dangerous thing. That doesn't make us safer when we condemn those, when we keep those folks in the shadows.
I have to jump in here, Liz. At no point, absolutely not. President Trump has not declared the entire Muslim faith bad. But look at what we're doing right now. We are allowing this discussion. We're allowing this conversation to be. We're allowing this conversation to be about defending Islam versus attacking the radical jihadists who want to destroy us. You want to talk about insanity? Let's talk about the fact that John Kerry came out today and said that Trump's travel ban was actually going to make us less safe. That's not soft.
I completely agree.
That is
completely
insane.
agree with
That's
that
like
statement.
Well, then, why aren't you recognizing that
we're
Donald
not targeting
Trump
the right people?
We are targeting the right people. In fact, the travel ban is targeting the same people that President Obama wanted to target. And let's talk about the insanity of President Obama. 13 days after Americans were killed in an Islamic terrorist attack that he blamed on a video, 13 days later went to the UN and said the future does not belong to those who would slander the prophet. What we're trying to do and what President Trump is trying to do is redirect the conversation back instead of attacking those who want to question and want to do what we need to do to keep us safe from radical Islam. What President Trump is trying to do is recorrect the 8 years of political correctness that have left us completely vulnerable to these kinds of attacks.
Right, because right now they're happening.
The travel ban would not.
Go ahead, Kevin. Go ahead, Kevin.
I was just saying the travel ban, these were British citizens that killed other British citizens. The travel ban is focused on 6 countries. Those individuals who carried out those attacks, most recently on the London Bridge, would have been admitted under that travel ban rule to the United States. We need to focus, as liberals want to do, with Democrats on the Hill, focus on the real problems at hand with these populations. Give law enforcement the resources to go and have these interviews and take out the folks that are most dangerous, that pose the most threats.
And that's what they're not. That's what they're not doing. That's part of the problem. That's part of the problem with political correctness.
Right.
Is law enforcement is reactive. Intelligence agencies are proactive. We can't have this be a law enforcement response issues, or we're just going to have cops like the one in London that went in and didn't have a gun to fight off the attackers because political correctness was tying his hands. They knew about these people, but they weren't able to go in and arrest them because, again, they were too worried about being labeled Islamophobic here.
Yeah.
Kevin, we're almost out of time here. I just want to make one point. I mean, perhaps these people that attacked in London this weekend weren't from those specific countries on the travel ban list. But let me ask Democrats, liberals in general, how many individuals in our nation have been convicted of terror-related charges after having come from those 6 nations?
0.
No, that's false.
0. No American has been killed on American soil.
Exactly.
From any
no
of those
American
6
has been
countries
killed.
on the
Why
terror
is
ban.
that?
No American.
Because we convicted 72 of these individuals while they were plotting their terror attacks before they were able to kill us.
And I applaud
that's
that.
How
and
you
I
keep.
applaud that.
That's how you keep America safe. Keeping those people out and reacting proactively rather than reactively. Andrea.